Komi Can't Communicate Season 2. The first season was really good. The second season started off the same old, and then the third, at the end of it here, the last episode, it ended with, what did I just watch? And on this episode, movie breakdown series review, we're going to talk about it. But before I get started, if you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to as best I can. Also at Patreon.com/Zakka for $2 a month. You get to get your review out way before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. You get to see it before everybody else gets to see it for the Patreon. And any requests you ask me, I do it because you're paying for my services. Now, one last thing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends and family. Now let's go and get into today's episode of 2022's Komi Can't Communicate Season 2. And what is this season about? It's pretty much the same thing from season 1. It's just the other half of the school year. Komi and Tano are getting more friends. They're doing more things like Valentine's Day, going to the winter months, going through school trips. It's just pretty much a little bit more slice of life what's going on, and Komi's getting to meet new friends. But one of the cool things about this season that Komi actually does speak a little bit more. She's able to speak to Tano without having to hide herself. She's opening up a little more. She's becoming a little more out of her shell. Her anxiety is going down. But one of the big things about this season and this show was the will they won't they between Komi and Tano. So the things that I like, I love the comedy. I love the goofiness, and I would say action, but it's not really much action, just the drama that goes with it. I love that. The scenes where Tano and Komi is talking to each other and you see the tension, like the Valentine's Day episode, which pretty much show that Tano, he's been with Komi this whole time, hasn't really got true friends. Besides that one guy who also has social anxiety, Tano really doesn't really have that many good friends. It's really Komi is his one good friend, and he was expecting to get chocolate from girls on Valentine's Day. Well, no girl gave him a chocolate besides the guy, and he was like, not one single girl gave me a chocolate. He's like, I've been around these women this whole year and not one. Komi got flooded. Even Komi didn't give me a chocolate, and then Komi shows up and gives him a chocolate, and then Tano just and it's very the scene was so tense, you can taste it. Like, you can taste the tension between Komi and Tano. Like, oh shoot, is she gonna say that she loves him? He's gonna say that he loves her. Tano just dropped the ball. Like, well, thank you. I was expecting to get chocolate from you earlier, but it's cool. I'm like, bro, you've been talking about wanting to see this girl this whole time, and here's your opportunity, and you just let it slide. Like, you've been talking about you want to date her. Like, oh, I don't have feelings for her. Oh, I do have feelings for her, and you just gonna let it slide like this? This is how you end this? And then the scene where Komi is finally revealing to Tano why she don't want to go on a school trip, and this whole moment where Tano is moved closer to her, they're hiding behind a wall. She's behind a wall, and Tano's on the other side of the wall, and he's listening to her actually speak, or speak over the phone. And he's like, well, I'll always be here. I always got you. I'll be your friend. But then, they don't move anything from that. You have a scene where Tano and Komi are on the airplane together, and Komi falls asleep on Tano's shoulders and kind of drools on him, or she thinks she drools on him, and that's about it. And then the ending of the series, the ending of the show, you get a flashback of all of the year they had together, of all the people they hanged out with, of all the friends they met, but there's no Komi, would you like to go on a date with me? Komi, would you like to be my girlfriend? Komi, no. It's just at the end of the series, Komi walks to the Tano and be like, I'm looking forward to spending the school year with you again. And that's how the show ends. And that is my big dislike. You built this up, this tension up, of this will they, won't they, to them be like, nah, we're gonna have them ended like that. Komi has been this last season gushing over Tano almost every episode. She kind of want to tell Tano how she feels, but she that she really likes him, and she doesn't go through with it. Tano picks up on it. He really likes her, but then he doesn't move forward with it. He doesn't tell her, hey, I like you. But anytime he does have the opportunity to, he'll be like, no, we're just friends. There's no way we can do that. I'm like, bro, she is throwing it to you, and you're just letting it drop like fumbling the bag without even like you having in your hand the hottest girl in the school that likes you over everybody else who likes her. Hey, she has a character named Yumai, who's pretty much the Mineta of this series. And that's a horrible character from My Hero Academia. She's the Mineta, and she's like legit fawning over Komi to the point where she takes her stockings and wears it over her face. It's a weird scene. It's ridiculous. Heck, there's a scene where she asks, can she touch Komi's breast? And you're like, what the heck? Like, it is that kind of character where if it was a guy, you'd be sickening by, but because it's a girl, you're like, oh, it's cool. In reality, no, she's legit trying to take a peek under Komi's skirt, and we all be like, okay with this. And it is, they do make some comedy bits out of it where like it's, at one point, you might legit goes pure heart and just like she legit wanted to see underneath Komi's skirt. She had no ill intention at all. Which you're like, okay, writers, I see what you're doing here. But people are throwing themselves at Komi, and the one guy that Komi throwing herself at refused to acknowledge it because he's like, oh, we should just be friends. And this dude is moving through life without actually, like, he's crushing on her, but he's not showing it like all the other people, and that's what making Komi, to me, find him more attractive. Like, there's a scene, which I love, the holiday scene, where they're at the holiday party, they're at Komi's place, and Thanos goes and sit down by himself. Najimi goes sit down by their self. A few other characters sit down, and then everybody else is like, who gets to sit next to Komi? And they're doing the spots, like which one's gonna sit where. And it's a cool moment, but like Tano just moves through, and then Komi sitting next to Tano. Because Tano's not over gushing over her, and Komi's crushing on Tano, and everybody else can see it besides the classmates, but like everybody else who's like Komi's mom, Tano's sister, the tour guide. But yet Tano's like, I'm not going to move forward with it. And bro, you dropped the bag. The writers had you drop the bag on this, and it irks my soul. And for the show to end like that, where she just walks up to him like looking forward to the next school year with you, and there's no romance to the end of it, with this built this whole romance thing up this 12 episode season, built this whole romance up to let it just fall like and you're like, that's it. It was very disappointing. Very disappointing. The writing of this show the season really irks my soul. It's very disappointing how this season ended and how the show ended for something that like, it had a good premise. Like, I understand Komi not gonna become the social butterfly, and that makes complete sense. Matter of fact, she didn't reach the goal of having 100 friends. I think she had 74 more friends to go, or 73, 70 something friends to go. She didn't reach 100 friends, so even that goal that was established in season 1 didn't get accomplished by the end of the show. So I get, like, you want Komi to open up, and she does open up. So the premise of Komi can't communicate, she opens up at the end of the show. Works. Like, I get it. She's talking to Tano, but Tano's the only person she's talking to. She's not talking to the whole class. She's not talking to Yumai. She communicates with two girls at the end of the series that come in who pretty cool people, but because it's like the last couple of episodes, you give less than two craps about them. I hate to say it, but you just don't care. You just don't care. There's moments of the show I had fun. Snowball fights, I had fun this season. Like, Snowball fight, that was a fun moment. The holiday room, that was a fun moment. The Tano and Komi communicate with each other, no pun intended, like after Valentine's Day was a cool moment. Tano realized he doesn't really have friends, really. It was like a moment where you're like, oh, my heart. But overall, like, this season really was a little bit of the same stuff. So nothing new was really added. And then when you wrap it up, like, this is the final episode, and you're like, that's it? A recap? And I think it's not good to do a flashback. And the way they did the flashback was them standing next to each other, and they was like looking out the window on a rainy day, and they had like different people they showed, different clips throughout the season and out the series. But recap episodes usually not a good sign. When you start seeing recaps and like people reminiscing about stuff, generally it's before the finale. So I was like, okay, this is the finale. This is the episode before the finale, and it ended up being the finale episode. But when you start doing, you start seeing that it's usually like out of the, for example, one of my favorite series to ever watch is Avatar: Last Airbender, and they did the recap episode in a way that was completely different. I give props to this day, and I think it's one of the best ways to do it. You had them watch a series, have them watch a play of the show, a play of everything that happened and the characters reacting to themselves on screen. That was such a cool way with the Ember Island players. And then the last episode, Korra, the Legend of Korra, they ran out of budget. They ran out of budgets, and they, instead of cutting people to save money, they decided to do a recap episode, which was completely jarring. But they sat there and had the characters recap. We remember this. We did this. Remember when we did that? And they showed the recap of it, which is never really a good thing. So I don't know if Komi can communicate lost budget at the end of the series, or they didn't have the people to fund it, so that's why they're like, gotta wrap this up real quick. Like Game of Thrones, we wrapped it up real quick, we wanted to move on. Another show that had a very sad ending, like the ending was not good compared to the rest of the show. You had 8 seasons, and you end it like that. And Komi Can't Communicate has 2 seasons, and they ended it like that. And you're like, well, Ali, like, how would you want them to end it? Like, why are you not happy about this ending? It could be a simple ending. It's when you write something, and I used to make comic books, but I'm not like a professional writer. I'm not a professional. I'm not published anywhere. But when you're writing something, you're building up to something, you shouldn't let that storyline drop. Or if you do let the storyline drop, have a reason why. WWE, I'm a huge WWE fan. I'm a wrestling fan. Been that way since, early 2000s. And when they do storylines well, and they write storylines out and let it play to fruition, it's very, like, satisfying. Like, okay, we have the ending to what happened. We got The Rock versus Austin, okay, WrestleMania 15, and then you have WrestleMania 17, and then you have WrestleMania 21, or no, WrestleMania 19. And how'd you get there? WrestleMania 17 was considered one of the best WrestleMania matches for The Rock and Austin. For The Rock and Austin, for some reason, I'm going to combine their names together, but their story was like, I haven't beat you. I need to beat you. And there's like, okay, we have years of history building up to this. When you establish a storyline, you're building on that storyline, just to let it like drop for no reason, it's really disheartening. And it's really like, where are we going with this? And I really wish Komi Can't Communicate didn't let that storyline drop between Tano and Komi. Instead of just letting them be friends, they both had feelings for each other. Just let them get together. Let them add them up. Let them be together. But no, you're just like, we're going to drop it. To just wrap it up and say like, hey, I'm looking forward to spending another year with you. They could win the next school year being boyfriend, girlfriend. They can win the next school year just Tano taking on a date. And you don't know what happens next, but at least you get the date and then like expressing like, hey, we do have feelings for each other. We do experiences for each other. Let me take you out. Right there. That would have been sufficient enough. Just a date. You don't even have to say their boyfriend, girlfriend, because like, this is a date I'm taking you on. Hey, Komi, I want to take you out to eat. We be down with that. And Komi could say something like, yes, thank you, sure, or something like that, and have Tano in with like, fist pump in the air, or Komi look up with like the giant smile on her face because she can finally express to Tano that like, hey, I appreciate you, I like you a lot more than just a friend. And Tano got himself out of the friend zone, instead of putting himself back into the friend zone at the end of the season, looking like, well, we're just friends, and saying stuff to put his shoe in his mouth, when in reality, like, bro, you was crushing on Komi, you should have went after Komi. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. All right, let's go ahead and get into the writer and details and characters. So, Komi Can't Communicate, which is also a manga, is written and illustrated by Tomohito Oda, and it is animated by Studio TV Main Union, and then the animated the television drama of it. I did not know that. So there's a television drama by TV Main Union, which is the studio, but the anime is done by TV Tokyo. It's licensed by Netflix. And the characters here, we have Najimi. They was a fun character. They're still a fun character. They call a lot of shenanigans that goes on around the group. They're just cool. They're like, after season 1, they're the same character. They're still like, oh, I didn't know what's going on. I acted oblivious to everything, but they know exactly what's going on, and just a cool mouthpiece for Tano and Komi to connect with everybody else. Komi was cool in this season. I actually enjoyed Komi and her getting out of her shell, and you see more of the world from her perspective in this season. Season 1 did the same thing, but you really get to go with her on a lot of things, like the school trip episode where you're literally just with Komi for 2 episodes, and Tano's not really in the picture. He's come more of a background character certain times. Like, I thought that was cool, and get to experience Komi's side of things, and Komi really being like, I appreciate Tano. Matter of fact, the first probably half of season 2 is more Tano, and it switches to Komi being like opening up and like being like, I like Tano more than just a friend. Yumai is legit Marinetta. She's Marinetta from My Hero Academia. Minetta, I think I said not Marietta, but Minetta. She's Minetta of Komi Communicate. She is somebody who just a perv, wants to see Komi and in every sense of Komi, and she's gonna do whatever she wants to try to see her. She's a menace to society. I'm really putting her up there next to Minetta, Master Roshi. She is Yisha. Himiko was cool. Like, she didn't really have much else to add to this season besides her first season 1. Tadano, he's was one of the characters that everybody was supposed to go through the season with. Like, he's the one to show you the world that you're in, and the mouthpiece for the audience to the rest of the world. He's the surrogate for the audience to the rest of the world. But then in season 2, you get more of Komi's side of things. So Tano kind of becomes there, and he's just hanging out and about. And there's certain times where he's put in some situation where he's interacting with other characters. But really, Tano is, a guy who put the love interest, and he just kind of dropped the ball. He was like one of the main characters, and he kind of becomes a side character to Komi. He's still the main character. It's really Komi's show by end of season 2, and he just kind of drops the ball. He was the character that you put to be like, I'm rooting for you, and then when you watch him put his foot back in his mouth and not move forward and take Komi on a date or make it more known that he's interested in her versus, oh, she can never be interested in me. Dude, go for it. But nah, he dropped the ball in this season. They wrote the character. The writing for him was not good, and he really doesn't live up to it in this season at all. Then you have Makoto, who he's like the newest character that you meet, and he also has social anxiety as well, but he really finds himself getting attached to Tano, because Tano is kind of like one of the first people who kind of just acknowledged him as a person and didn't really run away from him. And he like kind of legit, like, I find himself getting more attracted and more like just admired and enamored by Tadano, and he's really shy and anxious with Tadano, sees him as a person, so he's like, oh my god, somebody else who appreciates me for who I am. He's a cool character. He has moments in the season as well, but really he's just like the big buff dude who kind of like has a soft side. And that's pretty much it when it comes to characters. This show has a lot of characters in it, and a lot more people get revealed. Matter of fact, there's characters I forgot what's in this season that get get lost because there's so many characters here. I think Komi Can Communicate would just work better if they just focus on like 5 characters, and then Komi have interaction with other people, and like each one has their own little adventure. Season 1 was more like that. Season 2 was just kind of like a little bit of everything, and they just drop characters in towards the end where you're like, I don't really know who you are. Shit, I care about you, and I really don't care about you. Any other thoughts? As far as the ending goes, it's not the strongest ending. I've seen better endings from other shows, but hey, the last time I watched the ending that kind of disappointment was Akame Got Killed, and I watched that ending. I ended up going to read Akame Got Killed volume, the manga series, and then ended up reading Akame Got Killed 0, and then reading Hirona Got Crushed, because the fact that I felt like Akame Got Killed ended not in a good way, where I was like, I want to get attached to more of these characters before they just get wiped out, or they just falling left and right. And the show ended because they had to wrap up budget quick because they're running out of money for the show for Akame Got Killed. But like, the ending for the show. Game of Thrones is another one where just like it's not satisfactory. It was like they was pushing it through. How I Met Your Mother, that show didn't end well either. And then Komi got killed. Not Komi got killed, but Komi Can't Communicate falls on that too. One Punch Man I haven't read, so I have no idea how One Punch Man finishes. The manga, the anime is not done. Demon Slayer, I haven't seen the finish of that, so I don't know how it finishes. I heard people say Attack on Titan finishes badly, but I've not watched the anime yet. It hasn't came out yet. Bleach, I haven't read the 1,000-Year War, so I don't know how that arc ends, but I feel like Bleach ended satisfactory when they wrapped it up at the end of it's a Hellbringer arc. Hellbringer, the previous Soul Society substitute, can't think of the name of it right now, Soul Reaper, this previous substitute Soul Reaper, like when Ichigo beating him, it kind of ended like with a nice little touch. Ichigo goes back and looks at his friends. Let's see here. Yu Yu Hakusho ends decently, where you just get in the gang, gets together, take a picture, just having fun. Dragon Ball Z ended really well with Goku going to train with Oob, and they just like kind of leave everything with a peace and goodbye. Dragon Ball GT ended really well. You know, people say GT is not a good series, and there's some point, but the ending of it was done really, really well. Goku becomes part of the dragon, goes on an adventure with the dragon. So yeah, Komi Can't Communicate didn't end well, but for the most part, it was a cool season. I had fun. There's some nice spots here and there, but really the ending of it and the storyline between Tano and Komi just hurts it. Any other thoughts? Animation was good. Animation is still beautiful. The music is still good. Now, the opening theme song for season 2 wasn't good. I didn't like it, but the ending theme song was on point. I probably listened to it multiple times. But for that, like, the animation and everything else as far as the show goes looks nice. Writing is where it hurts. It hurts in the writing. Is this show binge worthy? Nah, it's not binge worthy. Not season 2. You can put it down, come back to it. Matter of fact, I started like 4 months ago and finally finished it because I had to put it on my anime list. I was like, I have to finish this. I have to finish this. So it's not binge worthy because the same things you see in all the other episodes and other seasons. In season 1, it's a little bit of a repeat thing. Like, it's not really just certain like slice of life stuff happening, and there's moments, but nothing really be like, I need to watch this whole episode. Grading time. I'm going to grade Komi Can't Communicate season 2. I'm going to give this season a C-. It gets a C- for me. The animation is still solid. The music is good, but the storyline, the writing for it just really hurts me. And the fact it's a repeat of season 1, and it just kind of like, you know, they're going to the end, and it's supposed to be the end goal of having 100 friends. They don't get that. Tano and Komi do not get into a relationship after they've been up all this tension. To me, it really is a C-, a 70% anime. I don't remember what I graded season 1. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it real quick. So I gave Komi Can't Communicate season 1 an A. That's how much I love that season. So season 1 I gave an A, and season 2 I'm getting it a C-. And it's funny because I was looking on like my anime list, it gives it an 8.1 out of 10, which is a B, and IMDb gives Komi Can't Communicate a 7.8 out of 10, and that is a C+. So I'm giving that as a total whole as a series. So if I gave it an 90%, which is an A-, and I'm giving it a C-, which is a 70%, is an 80% overall as an anime. It's an 80%, which is it's not bad. So it's a B- as an anime as a whole, as a series, but season 2 is definitely a 70%. If you guys seen Komi Can't Communicate season 2, what did you guys think? Please put in the comments below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode movie breakdown, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode movie breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.